Hello and welcome. This is Randy with Excel for Freelancers, and today we have a great training where we're going to show you fade out messages that automatically alert the user without having them to click on any particular OK button. So it's a great way, and I'm excited to show the training. So let's get started. Alrighty, welcome everybody. Let's get started. The fade out messages are a great tool when you want to provide information to the user without having them to stop and click an OK button or something like that. And we're going to use one of the workbooks that we've used previously for our fade out messages, and there's a few information on here that we've covered in previous. We have our load where we're actually loading the contact information on highlight, and we covered that in our auto tab, load, and save. So if you'd like more information on either loading the information or tabbing from line to line, or saving the information automatically to the line below just by clicking on some information, you can check that workbook out, okay, because we've done a lot of information there. So that's auto tab, load, and save in review. Okay. Also, we have automated our field names. We've covered that when we click add new contact. We covered that last week, where automatically we have field names that we've set, and so we've covered that in the auto field names. So if you see that in this workbook, you can look back to the automated field names to get information on how that was done, as we're not going to cover that in this particular training. In this particular training, we're going to cover some fade out messages and how and why we go about that. Okay, in this training, let's say we have add new contact, okay, and then we want to click add new, and it's going to clear those fields. And then basically what we want to do is we want to type in some information here, right? And when we want to save that information, I want to alert the user. Now we can save the new contact, and you just see it's saved down here on the first available row. Let's go ahead and delete that. But first I want to let them know the new information is added. And we can, one way to do that is to go into the Visual Basic Code. Remember, that's Alt F11, or if you want to, you can go into the File and then Developers tab, and then Visual Basic. If you don't have that, then it's into the File, Options, okay, Customize Ribbon, and then Developer tab here. Select that in case you don't see the Developers tab. So back into the VBA module we go. Okay, once in the VBA module, you'll see a macro called Save New Contact. Okay, and in this Save New Contact, okay, we have our information in which we have covered in previous lessons. But basically, what we are doing is we are taking the information that is in our 6 fields, and we're putting it into the first available row, into these 6 fields in the table. So that's what we're doing when we are actually saving the new contact. And what I want to do is I want to alert the user. Okay, so one way we can do that is MsgBox. Okay, new contact has been saved. Okay, and what that's going to do is going to provide a message box on pop-up that lets the user know that the new contact has been saved. And I'll go ahead and show that to you here. Okay, once we click new contact, we can put in a name and an address, and that's okay for now. And then just clicking save new contact, and it's going to give us this pop-up right here. And in this case, it's a nice little notation, excuse me, but the user must click OK to continue. So it's a little bit, it interrupts the user flow. I want to alert the user that the new contact has been saved, but I don't want to interrupt their flow. One way to do that is with a fade out message, and I'll go ahead and go over how that's done. It's quite simple. The first thing we want to do is create a shape, okay? Create that message. So let's go ahead and go into the format insert tab, okay, insert shape. We'll go ahead and click this rounded rectangle, and we'll put it here, okay, and then let's call that new contact saved. Okay, all right, now we can go ahead and format that shape under the formats. Let's go ahead and give it a color, and then we'll go ahead and increase the font a little bit. And we'll center, let's go ahead and pull this down for now, center that, okay, And we will go ahead and change the font a little bit to Cambria and make it bold. Okay, that's pretty clear, and we can also change the font color here. Okay, so now we have our box, we have our shape. This is the shape that we want to make it fade out. So we want to display this shape, and then we want to slowly fade that out. Okay, and we can do that, but let's go ahead and name this. Okay, new contact saved. Okay, so now we've got it named. Now this shape has a specific name, and we can go ahead and see all of our shapes in here. That's the properties, the selection and visibility we see here. You can also view that page layout, selection pane. Okay, I've just added a shortcut up here, selection pane here, selection and visibility here. Okay, so that's new contact save. We can hide it, we can show it. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to create a macro that allows us to basically show this and then slowly fade it out. And to save a little bit of time, I've already created the macro, and I'll go ahead and walk you through that. So back into the Visual Basic, and here we have fade out messages. And let's go ahead, and this is basically a macro, and what it does is it basically runs through a timer and a transparency. Okay, so it starts out as a transparency, and it gives it an event, so it loops through from 1 to 100, okay, and then it sets the fill transparency to that 1 divided by. So it's going to start out completely clear and then move to slowly transparent until it disappears entirely. Okay, and once it disappears entirely, we want to make it completely invisible, and that would be this through this line. Dot visible equals false. So we're doing everything with this shape. And now let me go ahead and change the name, because we created a name and our shape is new contact save. So let's go ahead and copy, Control C, copy that entire name back into the Visual Basic. Let's make sure that that shape is the same name as the name. Okay, that's important. Okay, and this is not an updated. So this particular macro, we're going to call it contact saved. Okay, contact saved message. Okay. We'll do another one for updated as well. Okay, contact, not condition, contact, C-O-N-T, contact save message. So basically with the active sheet, and I like this active sheet so that you don't have to, you can use this on any sheet because it's always going to go for the active sheet. Okay, so it's a very nice. You just need to make sure that that active sheet, that the sheet with the shape on it is displayed. So if you try to run this code on a sheet that's not currently displayed, it'll come with a bug. It'll say it's not apparent. So you want to make sure that the sheet you're working on has this shape, and has a shape name with this name. So basically what we're doing is first we're going to make the shape visible. Then we're going to start with the transparency, the fill transparency. Okay, 1/100th gives it very little transparency, right? And then it goes through quickly. And now we put in delay in here. If you want to make it super fast, you put in a low number like this. If you want to make it faster, you put in. So we'll experiment with that as well. So let's just go ahead and run that code, okay? And just so we see what we're doing, how it's working with us. Let's go ahead and slide this over, reduce this, okay? And let's go ahead and run this code. We want to make sure of a few things, that this active sheet is the same and the name is here. Okay, so we've confirmed that. And let's go ahead and run this code. Okay, we can use F5 to run it. There it is. Okay, let's do it one more time. F5, or you can press this play right here. Okay, F5. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And there it is. Okay, it's a little bit fast for our purposes, so why don't we slow it down? Let's go to 6. It might be a little too slow, but let's go ahead and see it. F5 again. All right, that's good. That's good for our purposes. And as you see, it came. So now what I want to do is I want to make this appear when we save a new context. So I'm going to copy that macro name. And here we have a macro called save new contact. Okay, so we don't want a message box. Let's get rid of this message box, and all we have to do is paste in the macro there. Now we add new contact, and I'll go over this. Adding new contact, you see that button changed. Look, now we have save new contact. We don't need the Save New Contact and the Add New Contact buttons at the same time. Those are two different buttons, okay? If you click on this button, look at the name, Save New Contact button, okay? And we'll go over that in just a minute, okay? So now, Fredders, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, Main Street, okay? And then save. Boom, new contact save. Great. Okay, but now I want one more thing. I want, when I make an update, when I make a change, I want an alert also. Okay, but I only want this alert to appear when I make a change from up here. Okay, if I make a change, right, I want a message saying contact updated. And how do we do that? Well, basically, when we make a change to any one of these fields, we want that message to appear, but not always. Because look, when we select an item, those are also making changes, right? When we select, it makes a change to all of these, right? So the idea is we only when we want, because when we load the contact information, it also makes changes, but we don't want to have that message pop up when we load a contact. When we make a change that originates from one of these changes, right? When we change Sacramento to Los Angeles, we want that to show. So let's go ahead and go over the code. First we're going to do is we're going to create that message, okay? Click on the selection pane, click on the new contact save, because I want to duplicate that. Click on it, Control D, duplicate it, okay? And now we're just going to call this contact updated, okay? So we're going to create one called contact updated. Updated, okay. And we want to make sure we want to change the name here, okay? So let's go ahead and change that to contact updated, okay? We can change it from here, or we can also change it from here too, okay? We can change it here. There's two ways we can change that. So now we have the name is contact updated. Let's copy that, okay? Because we're going to use that in the code. I'll close that, and I want both of these to appear here in the same spot. So let's go over our selection arrow, or to highlight both of them, or if we unclick that, another way to do that, to click on both, is to control and then click on the others. And basically I want to align them exactly over each other, since they will not be displayed at the same time ever, right? We can make them directly on top of each other, because only one's going to be displayed at a time, okay? So now we've got them right over each other, which is fine because they won't be displayed at the same time, so it's no problem. Back into the code we go, and now we need to create a fade out message for this, okay? For the contact updated, okay? All we need to do is copy this macro, Control C, Control V, change the name. We can't have two macros with the same name, contact, and then we'll just change this to updated, okay? Now we need to change the shape, contact updated, okay? I believe that was it, contact updated, all right? Let's just double check. Contact updated, exactly. All right. Now we've created a macro, and when do we want that? Okay, and I'll show you why we don't want that. Okay, well, I'll show you why we don't want it always. Contact updated. We're going to copy that macro, and then into sheet 1. Okay, let's go. Let's make this bigger so you can see it. Into sheet 1, and if you remember previously, when we make changes, when we make a change to cells F3 or F9 or H3 to H9, right? F3 to F9, H3 to H9. When we make changes, we want those changes put here, and we covered that in the save, okay? So basically, what's happening is when we cover those, we're saying if it's not a default text, remember, if it includes the colon, that means that's the default text, so we don't want that. If it's not the default text, and what we're saying here is this is not empty, basically what we're saying is that B, okay, this helps us map where we're going to put this. Column 5 is where the first name goes, okay, first name. Column 7 Column 7 is where the city goes. Okay, so basically we've mapped out that, and we did cover that in detail in the auto tab, load, and save video. So you'll want to check that out there so we don't go over that. We're covering the fade out messages in this video. And so the idea is that when we make a change to there, we want to add that contact updated. So let's go ahead and paste that in there and paste it in here. All right, so let's go ahead, and the other thing we did, here's the idea. We have to say if B10 value, basically it's just saying that if these numbers cannot be blank, because we have to know where to put it. Okay, that's why we say as long as B10 value does not equals true, and what does not equal true, and what that is, what we've added here is contact load. Okay, contact load, and I'll show you why. When we load a contact, here, let's go into that. When we go into that selection change, if the target range equals E13 to J26, E13 to J26, when we select here, okay, then the information is brought up here. But remember, what I want to do is I want to say, okay, I want that new contact update message to appear, but not when we're loading the contacts, not when we're loading it. So when you click on the form load, okay, we set B12 to true, and then we mark it to false after everything's done. So basically, as we're loading these, okay, B12 is going to go from true to false, okay, because when we're loading it, we only want that updated message to appear when this is false. Okay, so that means, let's go ahead and I'll show you, I'll walk you through that. So let's go ahead, now we have the contact updated message. We've added that macro, we've added it here. So now when we hit enter, contact updated, and let's go ahead and hide this, we don't need that now. Okay, so now watch, when we enter 317, contact updated. But look, why doesn't that message appear even though we're making changes? Why doesn't it appear when we're doing load, which is correct? Why is it only when we type in? Because this message only appears when this is false, right? Okay, it's very quick. You can't see it change, right? But trust me, it goes from false to true to false very, very quickly. So that means that when we set that up, okay, here, there. Now we've updated it, okay, but not when we load it, okay. So you see how that works? That's how we do the fade out messages. And the reason now, I also told you we would go show you how do we do when we click new contact. Look how save new contact comes up, right? But what if we don't want to save it right there? What if we just want to select? Oh, look, the add new contact comes back on once we've loaded an old one. So we're either showing add new contact or we're showing save new contact. And I'll show you how that's done. And look at this. Please make sure to enter a customer name before saving. I've made this field required. Let's go ahead and look at how that's done. Okay. Under the save new contact, I have added some code. It says here, if F3 value equals enter customer, right, because that's the default text, or F3 is empty, right, so either one, right, either it says enter customer or it's empty, I want to say, hey, this is required. And you can do that with any field. And one more thing to alert the user we can do is we can do a conditional formatting. So watch this. Let's go ahead and say conditional formatting, new rule, okay, format cells that only contain, and we can go blanks. If it's blank, okay, we can say make that fill a little bit yellow. That's a little bit too yellow, so let's go a little bit lighter. Okay, click OK, and OK. Now it's yellow, right? But it's not yellow when there's text, okay? And that's good, but it's not great, okay? What I really want is I want it to be yellow even if it says enter customer, right? Because enter customer is not really a field. So we can use a formula for that. Let's go ahead and see how that works. Back into manage rules, Okay, let's remove this rule. Okay, because that's the one we just created, and we're going to create a new rule, and this time we're going to use a formula. Okay, and here we're going to use an or because there's two options. Or it says enter customer, or it's blank. Under those two conditions, we want it to appear yellow. So equals or, okay, and then we'll click on the cell. F3 equals enter. Make sure we type this in exactly as it is, enter customer, comma, or what is the other condition? It's blank. Click on it again, equals blank. So now under either one of these conditions, the background will be set to yellow. And we used a recent color. One way to get that recent color is to go into Fill Effects, click here, click to this color, click the same one again. I want to use that recent color. That's a good way to get that recent color since it doesn't show up on the main, and click OK. Okay, now it's either if it's enter customer or if it's blank, it's going to be, except when we type in a name, it's going to turn white. So that's a nice way of showing a field that is required, and even when the default field there is there. So when we remove it, the default field comes up, and we covered that. So now we've covered how to color in a required field, and now let's go over the switching of the buttons, save new contact. And basically there's just two buttons here. I've created two different buttons, and you can see that in the shapes here we have a save new contact and we have add new contact button. We could show them both at the same time, but they'll be right on top of each other. Okay, you can see them here. They're both here, okay, but they're right on top of each other. We put them that on top of each other because neither one is both are not shown at the same time. It's either or. Okay, and to do that we have just two little macros. So basically when we save a new contact, all we want to do is we want to hide the save new contact button because we don't need to save them, and we want to show the add new contact button. Show the add new contact button under true and hide the existing one. And also when we add a new contact, when we add the new one, we want to show the save new contact button and we want to hide the add new. Okay, also let's say we want to save it, but then now we've clicked on an existing customer. We also have to switch the buttons too. So selection, right, under the worksheet, we also have, if we select any cell within this range, E3 to J26, I also want to save the new contact as false, right? Don't want to show save new contact, and I do want to show add new contact button. Okay, so that means even if we're in save new, we click an existing one, the add new shows up and the save is hidden. Okay, so that's a great way to hide information, to hide buttons or show buttons based upon the user selection. And we have now shown you how to also show a contact or a fade out message when we want to alert the user on different ways. And the fade out message can be used on anything, whether it's saving, whether it's updating, whether it's an alert. So this is a fantastic way to alert the user with a fade out message without having to interrupt their work, without having them to press OK. I'm really happy to show you this training. I think you'll get a lot out of it and you'll be able to use it. Please download the workbook with either through Facebook Messenger or with your email address. And as always, please share this video in any group or on your page. And thank you so much for your comments and likes.